With The Lion King opening this week, I decided to do my top 10 musicals. Since this is a quote-unquote live-action remake, this list is only inclusive of live-action musicals. I would have done a top 10 films that are classified live-action to avoid certain union rights to animators, but it would have been a pretty short list. So, jumping right in with number 10, Rocketman. It's the most recent film on the list, and it may be down to my love of fantastical movies, or it may be thanks to being a lifetime fan of Elton John. But this film blew me away. Defying all expectations I had, Dexter Fletcher managed to create not only an intricate and personal biopic, but he orchestrated a marvellous modern musical, reimagining the songs we already know and love, and recontextualising Elton's whole life. This film is a must-watch, as is everything on this list.
Sorry. I know.
Number 9, La La Land. I know, another contemporary musical, but I promise we'll get to the classics higher up the list. The special thing to me about La La Land is that Damien Chazelle is clearly a fan of the genre. It's hard to go 5 minutes without spotting another homage. The opening CinemaScope card alone put a smile on my face, and then I was in, hook, line and sinker from the opening number. The soundtrack still gets played regularly, along with the classics, which is a quality all films on this list needed to embody.
It's pretty strange that we keep running into each other.
Maybe it means something.
I doubt it.
Yeah, I don't think so. You could just write your own rules, write something that's...
Number 8, Grease. Okay, we're getting back a bit now. 1978, John Travolta and Olivia Newton-John star in a film that would make them both icons for the next 40 plus years. It's criticised now for perhaps not having the best message, in that a woman needs to change everything about herself to finally get her man. But what I will say is that I don't think there's been a wedding since 1978 that hasn't featured at least one Grease song. It's high energy, stylish, and downright iconic. Number 7, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Okay, so as a kid I always fast forwarded past the Cheer Up Charlie song, but I promise I don't do that anymore. I have to admit though, I don't know how much this film would hold up if I were to watch it for the first time now, but through those rose-tinted glasses of nostalgia, I adore this film. Gene Wilder is irresistibly charming, yet downright terrifying at the same time, which for a character like Willy Wonka I'd say is just about right. I liked Burton's adaptation more than a lot of people did, but there's no denying the sheer joy this 1971 spectacle brings. And from joy, we move swiftly on to despair. Number 6 is The Umbrellas of Cherbourg. One of the saddest films on this list, the legendary French romantic musical from Jacques Demy. If you haven't seen this film, I of course urge you to watch it, and I want to give away as little of the plot as possible. It's set in a small town and tells the tale of young love and the challenges they may face in light of the Algerian War. The seductive score transcends language, and when the film was first released in 1964, it not only won the Palme d'Or at Cannes, but was also nominated for 5 Academy Awards. From one you might not have seen to one almost everyone has seen is number 5, The Wizard of Oz. It's a classic for a reason. You'd struggle to find a more memorable moment than when Dorothy steps into not only the land of Oz for the first time, but the land of colour. The magic of this film continues to wow audiences over 80 years after its release. The songs are as memorable as its characters, none more so than the evil wicked witch of the West, who is one of cinema's most iconic villains.
Take me with you.
Why, of course I will.
Because of the wonderful things he does.
Oh, wow. My little party's just beginning.
Number 4, An American in Paris. Probably the least seen of my top 5, but don't let that speak for its quality. Gene Kelly is the mastermind behind this Best Picture winner. The tale of an American painter living in Paris who falls in love. A simple story that will have you laughing, crying, and everything in between. It's mostly remembered for its jaw-dropping 17-minute ballet to close the film, showing that as a lead man, Gene Kelly had it all.
A pianist. That's a pretentious way of saying I'm unemployed at the moment. I like Paris.
Number 3 on the list goes to West Side Story. a reimagining of the classic Shakespeare play Romeo and Juliet, set in New York and centered around two rival gangs, the Sharks and the Jets. Not only did it beautifully retell a classic story, but it became a classic in its own right, with unforgettable original songs such as Maria, America, and I Feel Pretty. In second place, Mary Poppins. Based on a beloved series of children's books written by P.L. Travers, the 1964 Disney classic was vastly divergent from its source material. The additions of animated song and dance numbers were disputed by the original creator, but Walt persevered, and I have to say I'm glad he did, because without his vision being brought to life, we wouldn't have countless classic songs written by the Sherman Brothers, such as Let's Go Fly a Kite, Spoonful of Sugar, and Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, to name but a few.
Oh, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Even though the sound of it is something quite atrocious. If you say it loud enough, you'll always sound precocious.
And finally, at number 1, Singing in the Rain. Often cited as one of the greatest films of all time, let alone greatest musicals, Singing in the Rain tells the tale of the biggest silent movie star in Hollywood's journey into the world of talkies, as he begins to fall in love with a chorus girl who wants to be a star. It's a jukebox musical, meaning it's comprised of popular songs that had already been written and released, but given the huge success, critical acclaim, and sheer brilliance of Gene Kelly, Donald O'Connor, and the scene-stealing Debbie Reynolds, Singing in the Rain feels like the only place the soundtrack belongs.
From the place, come on with the rain, I've a smile on my face.
So there you have it. The 10 best live-action musicals according to me. Be sure to let me know your personal top 10 in the comments below, and subscribe to this channel for more top 10s, movie news, reviews, and more.